Coming up next, a controversial campus event draws protests.
What do we do?
Stand up, fight back!
And emotions run high.
They don't want to dance, they don't want to get in the mud with a pig like me.
Plus, some police agencies from across the state have yet to submit their yearly crime report from last year. The question is why?
We're flying blind because we don't know.
And find out what specific age group is having post-COVID health issues. The Center County Report starts now.
Good afternoon, I'm Josh Portney.
And I'm Megan Swift. Thanks for joining us for the Center County Report.
Our top story, protests turned ugly last night at Penn State as a controversial group prepared for an event on campus. Isabella Leahy reports.
Dare to struggle!
It is right to rebel!
Chanting and carrying signs, protesters gathered to speak out against an event sponsored by Uncensored America. Police kept watch on Penn State's campus before the planned appearance by Proud Boy founders Gavin McInnes and comedian Alex Stein.
Shut it down!
The protest was mainly calm until Stein arrived. That's when things turned chaotic.
We're stronger!
Someone then spit on Stein.
You're a really nice woman.
Are you afraid right now? Do you feel
No,
empowered?
I'm actually excited. I like it. It's kind of an adrenaline rush, to be honest. And I'm kind of frustrated that people aren't being more aggressive.
As things escalated, police arrived, some on horseback and others in riot gear, to drive back the crowd. University police declared the event as an unlawful disturbance. Then the university shut down the event. Penn State just sent out a text saying that the event was canceled tonight, but protesters are making their way towards the hub to continue making a statement. Some protesters came from as far as New Jersey.
A lot of people were getting upset about it. I felt I needed to come out and more or less see how things go.
There were also reports of vandalism and some people being pepper sprayed. But the university said no pepper spray was used by police.
I was here last semester for the Milo event. I saw what was going on there. This seems much more violent by comparison. Like, people are getting pepper sprayed left and right.
The far-right Proud Boys are classified by the Anti-Defamation League as an extremist group. Community members had mixed reactions about the event itself and its cancellation.
I think everyone conducted themselves appropriately.
It was chaos. It was unbelievable.
Penn State initially allowed the Uncensored America event to go forward, saying it's protected by free speech.
Penn State can't just put a fence around itself and exclude those activities. In a democracy, we don't impose beliefs on people. We invite them to grow past the positions that they hold that are exclusionary.
The First Amendment right protects your ability to speak out against the government, not your ability to speak out against your fellow man with hate or inciting violence.
Uncensored America is a recognized student organization, and it was granted $7,500 in student service fees in order to organize this event. In University Park, I'm Isabella Leahy for the Center County Report.
There are no reports yet of injuries or arrests from last night's protests.
Police are investigating what they believe is the alcohol-related death of a Penn State student. It happened last week and once again puts the issue of alcohol front and center at the university.
Police say 21-year-old Penn State junior Ryan O'Malley died in his off-campus apartment complex on West College Avenue. They believe alcohol was a factor, but toxicology results are still pending. Penn State is no stranger to alcohol-related deaths. 5 years ago, student Timothy Piazza died in his fraternity house after an alcohol hazing incident. The story made national headlines. Despite steps to increase education and awareness, many students are unaware of the symptoms of excessive alcohol consumption or poisoning.
I think they would just be passed out on the ground, unresponsive. That's pretty much all I know about it.
I think that's what I would look for. If they weren't unresponsive, I'm not sure if I'd be able to figure it out.
Jake Willingham and Erica Grant aren't alone. Jocelyn Anderson is a nurse and researcher at Penn State's College of Nursing. She says many people don't know how severe this issue is.
That a lot of folks don't necessarily think about kind of the dangers, what are those kind of red flags that I as a healthcare provider may think about as red flags.
Common signs to look out for include vomiting, confusion, unresponsiveness, trouble breathing, and low body temperature. And the effects of consuming large amounts of alcohol go way beyond a hangover.
People actually having like those long-term consequences of alcohol use, so things like hepatitis and liver disease and liver cancer at a much earlier age.
According to a study done in 2018 by the National Institutes of Health, 1.3 million people are admitted to the hospital every year for alcohol-related incidents. Many are afraid to get in trouble with the law, so they don't make a potentially life-saving call. Pennsylvania has a safe harbor law, which guarantees the caller won't be prosecuted if they get help.
You know, if you call the cops on yourself, you can't get in trouble. You're just helping out whoever needs it.
An important law that could save a life. In State College, I'm Anna Meyer for the Center County Report.
We checked with the coroner's office and it's still waiting for test results before confirming the student's cause of death.
Election Day is just 2 weeks away. Tonight, U.S. Senate candidates John Fetterman and Mehmet Oz will debate in Harrisburg. Also, today begins early in-person mail-in ballot voting in Center County. Reporter Gabrielle Tyner is at a ballot box in downtown State College. Gabrielle?
Thanks, Josh. Voters can now submit their completed absentee or mail-in ballots at this secure drop-box location at the Borough Municipal Building. There are 8 drop-box locations across Center County, including one on Penn State's campus and one at the Willowbank Office Building in Bellefonte. As of this morning, nearly 16,000 people have been mailed their absentee or mail-in ballots in Center County. The last day to request a mail-in or absentee ballot is November 1st. Live in State College, I'm Gabrielle Tyner. Now back to you.
Thanks, Gabrielle. Voters in this year's election have been inundated with negative campaign ads. But are those ads helping or hurting? Samantha Saucier has more on the story.
Negative ads surround us every day, especially during campaigning season. But how effective are these ads, and are they encouraging more people to avoid voting altogether?
Dozens of campaign signs line the streets of State College. But are these signs really doing good for the election, or just shedding a negative light?
According to studies by Marjorie Hershey, a professor of political science at Indiana University, when people choose a candidate and seek attacks on that person, they're more likely to avoid voting altogether because they're unable to identify whether or not the ad is warranted.
We're seeing an explosion of negative advertising, which is primarily designed to drive the negative ratings on people down. And what it ends up doing, I think, is turning people away from politics in general and democracy in general.
Matthew Jordan, a critical media scholar at Penn State, says that the negative election ads take away from the true meaning of democracy and persuades viewers to distance themselves from politics.
Democracy is much more than just voting. It has to be also the way that we work with each other, the way that we deliberate about solving problems that we all share, no matter our political affiliation or candidate of preference.
Negative election ads can also portray a different message than intended, causing some voters to vote solely on the false campaigning rather than what the candidates stand for.
You might get people who come out to vote because they're angry or something like that, rather than because they truly believe in what the candidate's doing.
In State College, I'm Samantha Saucier for the Center County Report.
We'll bring you live election coverage from our Center County Report team on November 8th.
Penn State's homecoming took a negative turn for 2 student Greek organizations before the annual parade. Phi Kappa Psi and Tri Sigma woke up to see their homecoming float vandalized on Friday. They say the damage was too much for them to showcase it at the parade.
All of our efforts that we put in for the entire week leading up to homecoming got destroyed in seconds, so it was just really upsetting. And my last year, senior year, to not see a Phi Psi homecoming float was really upsetting.
When it comes to more serious crime, the FBI has released its annual crime report for 2021. But it doesn't have all the information. Reporter Gabrielle Tyner asks the question why.
Crime rates across the country are going up. Or are they? It's difficult to tell because many states, including Pennsylvania, have yet to submit their full crime data report to the FBI for 2021. As of January 1st of 2021, the FBI will only accept data through the National Incident-Based Reporting System, NIBRS, which provides more accurate crime reporting data.
In total, right now, more than 150 additional Pennsylvania law enforcement agencies made the commitment to or have completed the transition to NIBRS.
According to the FBI's Crime Data Explorer, only 40 out of 1,504 Pennsylvania law enforcement agencies have fully completed the NIBRS report, leaving no concrete data for researchers like Jeff Ulmer to analyze crime trends nationwide.
That's still abysmal. I'm mystified as to why that's the case. But we're flying blind because we don't know officially what crime did in 2021.
This doesn't just affect researchers, but the public as well.
This information is very valuable to everybody in society because it's something that we can use to prevent these things from happening.
On a national level, only 63% of law enforcement agencies submitted crime data, the lowest participation the FBI has seen since the 1970s.
There are some states that are like 90-something% NIBRS coverage. Others are like Pennsylvania. Others are 50%. It's kind of maddening, but that's where we are.
Reporting in State College, I'm Gabrielle Tyner for the Center County Report.
Corporal Miller says the delay is because of a software compatibility issue between NIBRS and law enforcement agencies.
Will this stretch of warm weather continue? The weekend forecast is next.
Also coming up, lingering effects from the pandemic. Find out how so-called long COVID is making life tough for many people.
A recent study by the CDC shows many people with long COVID are having issues just performing daily tasks. Katie Braun has more.
Long COVID, also known as post-COVID conditions, occurs when a person is experiencing new, returning, or ongoing health issues 4 or more weeks after being infected with COVID-19. Little is known about why some people suffer from long COVID and others don't. According to a recent study by the CDC, 81% of those with long COVID have trouble performing day-to-day activities. Dr. Patty Santongo says one reason for this is the impact that acute COVID has on your lungs.
Things that you used to do like around the house and just taking walks or exercise, most of these patients describe that they cannot do that. And so that's what the activity element comes in because of the lung insufficiency or the destruction of some of the lung tissues.
Of people with long COVID, the group with the highest share struggling with daily tasks are those aged 19 to 28. Penn State track and field athlete Sarah Pickering had COVID in January and has been sidelined on and off since.
Where I was sleeping 12, 13 hours a day, no exercise I could do. I had like an elevated heart rate, just staying down, and I was having breathing problems.
Vaccinations could be a way to limit the effects.
I would encourage people to get vaccinated because at least we've seen like in adults, perhaps vaccination cuts down the risk of long COVID.
In State College, I'm Katie Braun for the Center County Report.
Santongo says in addition to exhaustion and breathing problems, people with long COVID also tend to suffer from depression and other mental health issues because of the isolating effects of the symptoms.
Good afternoon, and thank you for tuning in. I'm student meteorologist Joey Walker with your CCR afternoon forecast for today. And what a muggy and miserable start to the day we have had here in State College. Right now, 59 degrees with very overcast conditions. And we also have a dew point as well as at 59. Now, when your dew point temperature as well as your normal temperature are at the same, you tend to get low-lying fog. And you can see that very much present behind me as portions of Beaver Stadium and most of Mount Nittany are actually being obstructed by that fog right now. So for this time of year in October, we do expect the high to be at 58 degrees. Now, we've already exceeded that by 1 degree, and we'll see temperatures continue to climb throughout the day today for a high of 68. So we're going to see temperatures way above average at about 10 degrees above the normal for this time of year. Now, speaking of those temperatures, for most of us along Pennsylvania, we are seeing temperatures in the 65-degree mark as well as the low 60s, but we do have a couple of outliers such as Erie at 67 and Scranton breaking into the 70s at 71. Now, with these warmer temperatures, we are expecting some showers as well throughout the overnight tonight into Wednesday morning. So if you're along the East Coast into the I-81 corridor, we are expecting some scattered showers throughout the overnight tonight going into Wednesday morning. But for those of you along the western portion of Pennsylvania, such as Pittsburgh up to Franklin, you could be waking up to some rain, even maybe a heavier shower tomorrow morning, as well as in Johnstown. But going throughout the day, we are expecting some scattered showers and clouds building throughout the day. But we are going to clear out by Thursday into Friday, just in time for the Penn State versus Ohio State stripeout game on Saturday at noon. Now, tailgates are going to be absolutely perfect. Sunny and seasonable at 54 degrees. Kickoff will be just as great as clouds only start to develop around the third quarter. And by the fourth quarter, we are going to see some cloudier conditions, but still staying above average throughout the game. So here's your forecast for today. Cloudy, very, very cloudy at a high of 68. And going into tonight, those clouds will continue to persist for a low of 56. For tomorrow, we are still staying above average at 63 degrees, but those clouds still persist, as well as the chance of a rain shower or two. So you're definitely going to want to hold on to that umbrella throughout the day, as these scattered showers will remain scattered in nature throughout the day. So one or two could pop up throughout the afternoon or morning. So 7-day forecast, today some rain, tomorrow some rain as well, but by Thursday and Friday we do clear out, and as we go into the Saturday and Sunday for our weekend, just in time for the Penn State stripeout game, some beautiful conditions.
Absolutely. It sounds like it's going to be a beautiful game on Saturday for a nice stripeout and a nice experience at the game.
Absolutely.
That's fantastic. I might even be able to wear my t-shirt instead of a sweatshirt this time.
I encourage it. It's probably your last chance.
We're going to head over to Jacob for sports.
Thanks, guys. Coming up in sports, Penn State football rebounds with a whiteout win. We have the post-game reaction. Plus, we hit the ice with men's and women's hockey. Sports is next. I'm Jacob Charis with sports. Penn State football faces another big challenge this week against Ohio State. The Lions are coming off a much-needed win against Minnesota. Reporter A.J. Rovner has more.
The greatest show in college sports and a game Penn Staters wait all year for, the whiteout. Penn State took care of Minnesota in front of 109,000 plus fans, defeating the Golden Gophers 45-17. While being booed in pregame introductions and calls for true freshman quarterback Drew Aller to get the start, sixth-year quarterback Sean Clifford had his most complete game all season, going 23 for 31 for 295 yards and 4 touchdowns.
As you guys know, I'm proud of Sean. And he's a battler, and he's resilient, and he's tough, and he played really well.
Nick Singleton also had a big whiteout debut, rushing for 79 yards, averaging 6.1 yards per carry, and rushing for 2 scores.
Obviously, Nick was able to break one there at the end, so we just got to keep chipping away at it.
4 different Nittany Lions had receiving touchdowns: Theo Johnson, Parker Washington, Mitchell Tinsley, and Tyler Warren. Manny Diaz's Penn State defense was exceptional. Minnesota only had 9 completions and averaged 3.6 yards per carry. Curtis Jacobs added 14 tackles. Next up for Penn State is their toughest test perhaps all season when they host second-ranked, undefeated Ohio State at Beaver Stadium. In University Park, I'm A.J. Rovner for the Center County Report.
Saturday's game against Ohio State kicks off at 12 p.m., and you can listen live on Penn State Com Radio. High school football now. State High will travel to Chambersburg tonight, looking to continue their undefeated season. The Little Lions beat the Cumberland Valley Eagles 48-31 last week after trailing 17-7 in the first quarter. Senior quarterback Finn Furmanek led the way with over 400 yards and 4 touchdowns on the ground and air combined. Penn State women's hockey starts CHA play this Friday at Lindenwood. The number 12 Nittany Lions swept the Franklin Pierce in 2 high-scoring affairs over the weekend. Penn State shut out the Ravens 6-0 in Game 1. Junior forward Kiara Zanin scored 2 goals in Game 2 in a 4-1 win, and freshman goaltender Katie Disa collected her first collegiate victory, stopping 11 of 12 Raven shots. Penn State men's hockey also begins Big Ten play on the road against Wisconsin. The number 16 Nittany Lions are undefeated after sweeping the St. Thomas Tommies at home. Game 1 featured a dominant 6-2 win, and Game 2 featured a 3-2 overtime thriller. Despite winning in dramatic fashion, head coach Guy Godowski was not pleased with his team's performance in the second contest.
We are proud that we pulled that one out, but not proud at how we played. So there was very obvious, very clear information as to what we have to get back to doing well, and that's what this week will be about.
That's all for sports. Now back to you at the anchor desk.
Thanks, Jacob. Coming up next, a popular national chain reopens in State College. 4 months later, we take a look at how the renovations are relieving traffic issues at Chick-fil-A.
Chicken sandwich lovers, your wait is finally over. After 4 months, the popular Chick-fil-A in State College has reopened. Since the middle of June, the restaurant has been undergoing renovations to fix the drive-thru and alleviate long traffic lines that spilled onto Atherton Street. The project added a second drive-thru lane, an expanded kitchen, and a new pickup area.
Yeah, hopefully after that first grand reopening day, the lines have died down.
Maybe the lines dying down will give college students a chance to grab something to eat before class.
Absolutely. Well, that's all for today's newscast. Hope you'll join us next Tuesday for our next local news update.
But you can follow us anytime for breaking news and watch our stories on our Center County Report social media. You'll find us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and our website. Have a great afternoon.